I think it's safe to say that Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice ruled 2023. They had that year on lock. They had massive hits and major moments, both together and individually. As a duo, they both had Princess Diana and Barbie World, both top 10 hits and massively successful. Barbie World specifically was tied to the Barbie movie as part of its soundtrack. Individually, both were also at the top of their careers. Nicki was gearing up to release her highly anticipated sequel to Pink Friday 2, and Ice Spice was on a steady rise in her career with hits like Boys a Liar Part 2, Karma remix with Taylor Swift, and Deli. And they seemed so in sync with each other. Nicki crowning Ice as the people's princess and giving her this massive cosign, which was detrimental in her rise as an artist, and they just seemed like they hit it off. Yet in 2024, they're now not in the best of terms anymore. Nicki Minaj just recently unfollowed Ice Spice on Instagram, and compared to where they were last year, they just aren't good with each other anymore. And it's sad to see. And though some might think, so what, it's just another female rap feud, or female rappers not getting along together, this isn't the first time this happened, and this will definitely not be the last. But I think especially for Ice Spice, who just released her debut album Y2K, their careers were severely affected by this falling out. So let's talk about it. The history between both of them, how they started, how they dominated 2023, and how they fell out. This is Nicki Minaj versus Ice Spice. I think to fully understand this feud, we need to go back from the very start. I don't think we need to delve into Nicki's backstory that much. I think most of us are already aware of her career, but I'll just give everyone a quick recap just to freshen up your memory and give important context for you to better understand Nicki and Ice's feud.
Listen, I'm the first female president. In case you didn't know, I am now the official president of Dirty Money Records.
Nicki Minaj started off as an underground artist in the 2000s. She met, then signed with Lil Wayne on Young Money. Then she switched to mainstream with her debut album Pink Friday, with hits like Your Love, Moment for Life, Fly, and of course, Super Bass. A strategy that Nicki also used in her debut year was featuring on a lot of songs which then became massive hits. This helped put Nicki's name on the public's view a lot, and she became an instant household name in the 2010s. This is something that isn't unique to Nicki, as this is a common characteristic in hip-hop. Features are just part of the game. But Nicki was really one of the few hip-hop artists who utilized those features to their full capacity, making her verses so memorable and making it stand out so much that you can't help but remember who Nicki was. And this is important as a lot of female rappers after Nicki, Ice Spice included, will be using this strategy as we move forward. Nicki revived the genre of female rap as it was very much dead. It was down on the ground in the mid to late 2000s. Nicki showed that female rap was still viable commercially and essentially became female rap itself in the 2010s. And that decade, when you hear female rap, Nicki Minaj is the first person to pop out of your mind. And she dominated that decade. From Pink Friday, Roman Reloaded, and Starships to the Pink Print and Anaconda, she was inescapable. Then, as usual for women dominating a certain genre, people were starting to look for ways to tear down Nicki. This is sadly an inevitability for women in music. At some point, people will just turn on you. For Nicki, that came in 2017, spearheaded by Remy Ma's Sheether and corporate backings. This is when the Nicki hate train started. Then 2018 came, Remy Ma kind of fizzled out, and a new competitor showed up at Nicki's doorstep, Cardi B. If you want a full in-depth look at both Cardi and Remy's feud with Nicki, I have separate videos about those that really go deep in their feuds, so check that out after watching this video. But essentially, I just wanted to show that after a decade of dominating, Nicki wasn't the only female rapper in the game anymore that was selling. As the decade closed, though attempts were tried, and her 2018 album Queen was being touted as her flop album in her flop era. Mind you, her flop album selling 185k first week, something that no other female rapper other than Nicki herself with Pink Friday 2 was able to surpass. Nicki was still holding on to that crown tightly. Even if Cardi's numbers were higher this time than Nicki, I don't think people with ears and a functioning brain was going to say Cardi was the queen of rap, at least not with her skills. So going back in the 2020s decade, Nicki Minaj was still very much the queen of rap, and she saw a resurgence, especially during the pandemic. Another thing to note, however, during the 2020s was that female rappers were also seeing a resurgence. Acts like Doja Cat and Megan Thee Stallion also dominated during the early 2020s, and more female rappers were able to see success, and they were entering the door of relevancy non-stop. And this paved the way for one female rapper to dominate 2023, and yes, I'm talking about Ice Spice.
To what she's saying, because if there's anyone I'm gonna listen to, it's the queen.
Whilst Nicki Minaj was dominating the 2010s decade, Ice Spice was just growing up. And like most female rappers out right now, she was heavily influenced by Nicki. Other female rappers might not want to admit it, but Ice Spice was very open about her influences. So growing up, Ice Spice listened to Nicki, like most of us did. She said in an interview, "When I saw Nicki, I was so mesmerized. She's the first female rapper that I seen. And ever since then, I was kinda set on what I wanted to be."
Can you tell me about your appreciation for Nicki Minaj and kind of discovering Nicki Minaj?
My father actually put me onto her, I think, when I was like real young. She definitely inspires me, and just like who she is and how she's impacted culture. Dear old Nicki, like I feel like that song relates to me right now, where I'm at in my life. And I feel like I always knew it would, because I would listen to that song on the bus, like on the way to school. And she's like talking about how like she missed her old self and like now she's famous in meetings. And I was like, damn, I can't wait to like do that.
What would you say is an album or song that changed your life? You remember hearing it and it just, everything shifted.
Pink Friday. People know this. Yes, Pink Friday.
Amazing. Thank you, Ice.
She even tweeted on November 2020 that Nicki followed her and then commented practicing, manifesting even back then a Nicki follow or notice. She also tweeted out top 5 rappers that are alive Nicki M. So from the start, you can tell that she was a big Nicki fan. She was also using a lot of Nicki Minaj sounds and songs on her TikTok, and not just the popular ones, she was pulling songs from the mixtape era. And even her style, especially back then, could be seen as inspired by Nicki. Her dad was an underground rapper, so music has always been in her family, and she chose to pursue that, at first just writing lyrics on her notes app to rap beats. Then she started professionally rapping when she met Riot USA. Stop playing with him, Riot. And that's where she began her spicy, icy journey. She released a couple of freestyles and songs on the side, some notable being Bully Freestyle, Euphoric, Name of Love, and specifically No Clarity, which saw some traction on Twitter. It was mostly negative, with some people saying it was trash, but some were proclaiming it as like a guilty pleasure, like why am I kind of moving? Those songs were like okay as her like debut into the rap game. I think what separates Nicki from Ice Spice was definitely the times when they debuted and how they debuted. Nicki started off in a group that was relatively underground, so most of her earlier works were buried and only resurfaced once she did become big. Ice Spice, on the other hand, had all of her earlier songs out and about, easy to access, so people were able to see Ice Spice as she was still developing. Whereas Nicki was able to stay relatively underground until she started releasing solo mixtapes, and by then Nicki as an artist was already pretty much developed and only needed really refining to prepare her for her mainstream homecoming. So Ice Spice was already seeing some traction her way, and then she went viral for her Buzz It challenge on TikTok. A lot of you might recognize this video but not know that it was Ice Spice. Like, I definitely remember seeing this video during the pandemic but only recently found out it was Ice. And then she released her breakout single, Munch. Munch was a moment in pop culture. Though it didn't chart in a lot of official charts, it did get Ice's name out there. It really started getting traction when Drake promoted the song and played it on his radio station. The song garnered mixed reactions from people, though some loved the song, others also tried to say that this song was everything wrong with hip-hop and social media. People said she was only really popping because of her looks, and other female rappers deserve the recognition she's getting. And this is a critique that will sadly haunt Ice Spice till this day. Another thing to note about the Munch era of Ice Spice was that she linked up with Cardi B around this time, and they were gearing up to release a remix to Munch. But Cardi B inevitably didn't approve the remix, as she said in an interview that she didn't like how she sounded and that she knew they were gonna drag her and drag the song bad. Their relationship, however, seemed to have soured as Cardi B allegedly shaded Ice Spice in her Hot 97 Summer Jam in 2023 when Cardi performed her song Tomorrow 2, with an opening they used Tomorrow from the musical Annie. And the Annie character that Cardi B had in her screen resembled Ice Spice a lot. But nevertheless, Ice Spice has officially got her foot on the rap door game. She signed with 10K Projects and Capitol Records. She also met with Drake, then had a falling out with Drake. Most people suspect that Drake tried to taste the spice, but Ice wasn't having any of it. So he unfollowed Ice on Instagram. A big support from someone like Drake being pulled from you could have stopped her rising fame, but luckily she was able to keep the momentum with songs like Bikini Bottom and In Her Mood, and then followed her debut EP, Like debuted at number 37 on the US Billboard 200 with 15,000 album equivalent units. And the EP included the song Princess Diana, which references the meme that Ice Spice is the reincarnation of Princess Diana. It was really funny at the time, and I think most of you know where I'm going with this. But going back to Like, it was a valiant effort from Ice Spice. It was a perfect stepping off point for her to release a full-length album and for her to develop as an artist. She was also featured in the massive hit Boys a Liar Part 2 with Pink Pantress, which peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was also helpful in getting her name out there. And all of this success caught the eye of a female rap veteran who was looking for new talent for her new label.
Stop playing with him, Ryan.
So around 2023, Nicki Minaj was teasing of wanting to work with a new artist she was eyeing. Then around March 2023, Nicki reportedly commented on one of Ice Spice's posts on Instagram saying, "Bitches slow so I get him a pass. Nah, gra. No more passes, princess. Let's go." A week later, Nicki followed Ice Spice on Twitter, and then a day after, she reposted a picture of Ice Spice's Days cover with the text, "Gag, the people's princess. Catch it." Ice Spice then quoted Nicki's tweet with, "You heard the queen. I know Ice was gagging so bad." She also went back to her old tweet of saying that Nicki followed her as a manifestation manifestation and quoted it with "oh my god" as she fully manifested her tweet. Some people were speculating that Nicki and Ice were collaborating, whilst others suspected Nicki posted Ice Spice's picture to get back at Cardi B, as Ice and Cardi at this point seemingly weren't at the best of terms. However, only the former rumors were proven true, as in April 2, 2023, Nicki Minaj posted lyrics from Princess Diana by Ice Spice but remixed, tweeting, "like gra, keep it a stack, bitches as if we keepin' it crack." And this more or less confirmed that Nicki and Ice was going to collaborate. Then on April 14, 2023, Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice officially releases Princess Diana remix alongside a music video, and it was a hit. It debuted and peaked at number 4 in the Hot 100. The music video was a gag, and for the Barbs and the Munchkins, they were happy and gagging. It was a great remix, honestly. Princess Diana was already a standout on Ice's EP, and the addition of Nicki on anything really just adds this touch of gold onto it, and it becomes a hit. Nicki's verse was amazing as always. I mean, do we have to doubt her pen at this point? They were promoting the song, this viral video of them twerking to Princess Diana. Ice was saying that this was her dream collab and she's happy. Nicki was giving praise to her.
When I met Nicki, right, for the first time in person, I was like at her studio and she was like doing her glam and stuff. I was like nervous to get there. Once I got there, I was like, okay, I'm chilling. But then I heard her like say something and then I got nervous. Then she came at me. And when she came to me and she hugged me, I started crying because it just felt like just the journey. Like, you know, I love Nicki and like meeting her was great and everything. But for me, it also just mostly felt like this is a full circle moment. Right. It felt like such an accomplishment meeting her, like in a way, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because of course, so many girls look up to her and want to do that, but it's just like, for you to do it, it's just crazy. Since I'm so inspired by her, and like when you grow up listening to somebody and like looking up to them and like practically studying them. Like if I'm going home every day after school watching music videos and I'm watching mad Nicki videos and mad like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yes. So you pick up on mannerisms and like without even realizing it, and then one day you're an adult and like you act just like the person you grew up watching.
An important thing that did happen around this time was that Nicki returned to her radio show Queen Radio and announced her new record label Heavy On It, and that Ice Spice was signed under a partnership with them.
The princess and the motherfucking queen.
All right, babe, I love you and thank you for the amazing experience, and I can't wait to tell them.
Heavy On It is the label, and I'm very, very proud to announce my partnership with the one and only Ice Spice. And you know what? She's so dope.
This will be an important thing towards their feud, as this is the main catalyst of their falling out and the revolving center figure of everything about them. But I'm getting too ahead of myself. But I think the most important thing that happened in Queen Radio, this exact Queen Radio, was that Nicki shouted me out.
Oh, we got another bar. At Nicki Minaj. Like, I'll keep it a stack. Bitches is mad because I got what they lack. Eating my balls because they about to get sacked. Ducking them lips, but be speaking that crack. Wait, hold on now, at Nicki Minaj.
Princess Diana remix really pushed Ice Spice into the rap game. If before she had her foot on the door, now she was entering it fully. But this wasn't the last time we saw Ice and Nicki collaborate together, as we probably all know. On May 25, 2023, the artist featuring on the Barbie movie soundtrack was released, and it contained both Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice. Obviously for Nicki Minaj, this was a huge deal, as Barbie, the Harajuku Barbie, is her brand, and other than the toy lines in the movie, if one were to say Barbie, Nicki Minaj would probably be the one you would think of. A trailer of the Barbie movie was released, and at the end, it teased Nicki Minaj's song on the soundtrack with the Barbie Girl song, and people speculated that her song samples Barbie Girl. Then on June 10, 2023, both Nicki and Ice Spice announced that Barbie World, the third single of the Barbie movie soundtrack, would be released on June 23, 2023. And once again, it was a hit. It debuted at number 7 originally, then when the Barbie movie came out, it repeaked again at number 7. And it was actually for a while number 1 on US Spotify. It also peaked at number 6 on the Global 200 charts. The song also came with a music video with Nicki and Ice being dolled up. Honestly, I love this song so much. Nicki sampling Barbie Girl was just chef's kiss. I would say though that Ice really held her own in this track, and I feel like for both of their collaborations, Princess Diana and Barbie World, it seemed as if Ice was at her best when she collaborates with Nicki. I think it has something to do with the fact that Ice idolizes Nicki and she knows that Nicki goes hard on every feature, so she had to step her game up. The Barbie team, the director of Barbie movie Greta Gerwig, and the executive producer of the soundtrack Mark Ronson came out and said that they wanted Nicki from the start, and she was their first choice when coming up with the soundtrack. Mark Ronson tried to get Nicki on the soundtrack multiple times, but she didn't like the material they they were giving her, with Greta even writing a personal letter to Nicki basically saying that she was the first artist they thought of for this movie soundtrack and that she was essentially Barbie. Again, let's remember this as this will be important later on. So all seems right with the world of Nicki and Ice supporters. They just had 2 big collaborations, one being part of the biggest movie of the year, and they just seemed like the new rap duo everyone should watch out for. Ice especially was really looking like she was about to become the next big female rapper. You know, if we take a step back and really look at who are the prominent female rappers right now, stand shit aside, it would be Nicki, Doja, Megan, and Cardi. And Ice was looking to not only join them, but even surpass most of them. Not Nicki though. She had this massive collaboration with Nicki, then she joined Taylor Swift for the Karma remix, which peaked at number 2, then Barbie World. She had 4 top 10 hits in 2023 alone. Sadly, Barbie World would be the last time she saw the top 10, and more importantly, the last time she and Nicki will create music together.
I never found you funny. I never found you entertaining. I never found you smart. I just found you annoying.
So time has passed and both Nicki and Ice seem to remain friendly, just focused on their own solo endeavors. Obviously, Nicki was preparing for the release of her highly anticipated 5th studio album Pink Friday 2, and Ice Spice was continuing to build on her career with songs like Deli, and just making herself a brand. Then 2024 came, and both Nicki and Ice seems to be embroiled with their own separate female rap feuds, Nicki with Megan and Ice with Lotto. At the start of 2024, Ice released the lead single for upcoming debut album, Thank You the Shit, Bitch. Thank You the Shit did fairly well, and I think a lot of people forget that it actually debuted higher on Spotify than Hiss by Megan Thee Stallion, which was released on the same day, and if it weren't for Nicki reacting so quickly to Hiss, Ice's lead single probably would have fared better commercially. It was a decent song and it sees a continuation of Ice's success and the general listeners were eating it up. What started to falter for Ice Spice was when her other singles didn't do as well, and we can attribute some of this to what seems like a growing tension between Nicki and Ice. Though both haven't really done anything at this point to confirm they have beef, the fact that they haven't been publicly supporting each other, specifically on Nicki's side, and that their supposed partnership with Ice and Heavy on it seems to not have come into fruition, it wasn't looking good. They did share a moment, however, like a very far moment when in the 2024 Grammys, when the official Grammys account tweeted out that Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice won the best rap song, but in fact, Killer Mike for Scientists and Engineers actually won the award. This would have been both their first Grammys if they did win. Both didn't really react to this. I think at this point, Nicki has been messed over with by the Grammys so much that this was just a regular Tuesday for her. Then, the big storm happens. No pun intended. Baby Storm, a childhood friend of Ice and aspiring rapper, exposes Ice and reveals text messages between them, and Ice was talking shit basically about Nicki Minaj. Well, she was talking shit about a lot of other people too, but let's take to the video title for now. So here are the full text messages. So basically, Ice's manager and Nicki and her team were having some business disagreements towards contracts. Let's also know that this conversation happened in May 21, 2023, before Barbie World was released. Their conversation goes, so Baby Storm asked Ice about what happened in the meeting between Nicki and Ice's manager, and this is what Ice said, open-ended again. But then James called me with Nicki's old manager of 11 years and he said he was being unfair asking for too much, which is what everyone's been telling me, but it's hard to negotiate with her because she doesn't let people talk like lawyers or James, etc. Baby Storm said, just woke up, that's just so annoying, bro. Does she not realize that she's asking for too much? I said, no, she doesn't think so at all. So frustrating. Do you think you guys will be able to come to a compromise? I said, hopefully, but we're about to put out another record in June for the Barbie soundtrack, which is an opportunity I brought her because Barbie asked me to do it alone. But since that's her brand, I invited her on and she doesn't even see that as me bringing her something. She's kind of like my mom, ungrateful and delusional. Baby Storm said, oh my god, how does she not realize that it's not like they initially asked her to do it? But they did. That's the thing people always say about her. She'll always think she's doing you a favor, which is kind of weird for a Baby Storm to say when she hasn't met Nicki Minaj and she's basing it off hearsay. Baby Storm added, did she do more or do you just feel like that's what's best? I said, no, it's that plus she wants publishing from all my songs including third-party writing competitions and anything I write for other people or any songs I get on. Mind you, I had a Taylor Swift collab before I had the Nicki one. And Baby Storm basically said that now that I'm thinking about it, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I think we're forgetting that when Nicki was coming up, the deals people were getting at the time, early 2000s, weren't artist friendly at all. Literally not until recently. So to us, she's asking for too much, but because she's probably used to seeing labels take more, she feels like it's more than fair. It's not right, but she's much older, which is why she feels that way. Not right at all though. And that's basically what she's saying because she keeps saying, oh, when Wayne was signing me, I didn't question blah blah. But me and her are in different places in our career when that happened. Like I'm already signed, so why would I work backwards? And nah, it's just necessarily like she gaslights me too much. I gotta love her from a distance for my mental health. Baby Storm added, this is the best way I can describe it. Nicki is like those people who believe that kids today shouldn't get student loan forgiveness because they had to pay for it back when they went. You mean the same Nicki that pays for a lot of her fans' college tuitions? but okay. But I said, mind you, we wanted to pay Nicki her artist fee. Yes, 100%. I think she's jealous that I own all my masters because she said, James, you think you the man and you think you're so cool in that interview. I don't know why she mentioned that. And James the one that said I own my masters in the Billboard interview. Baby Storm said, it's giving jealous 100%, it's actually sad. I said, she's showing it so much. So basically, there are two things that Ice was saying here worth noting. She said that she brought the Barbie World song to Nicki and that's how she was given the opportunity to be featured on the Barbie movie soundtrack, and Nicki was ungrateful and delusional, and that Nicki wanted the publishing rights from Ice Spice. So let's first go through the Barbie World allegations. Though Ice said here that Barbie asked her to do the song alone and that she gave Nicki the opportunity, it seems like the Barbie movie team had a different recollection of it all. As stated earlier, Greta Gerwig and Mark Ronson, the director of the movie and the executive producer of the soundtrack, said Nicki was their first choice and they instantly connected Barbie and Nicki. It wasn't Ice who made that connection and made this all happen. Nicki was sent multiple songs, she rejected them, and she finally agreed when she heard Barbie World. I don't think Ice lied necessarily. I do think this was a work in progress already, and then they sent Barbie World to Nicki to see if she'd like it, and luckily she did. But to say Nicki has to be grateful to you for this collaboration is kinda not it. I also think, honestly, the Barbie movie team just used Ice Spice to get Nicki on the soundtrack. I mean, let's be for real. If Barbie World was released on its own without a Nicki feature, it wouldn't have seen the same success, like at all. For the contract negotiations, however, it's kind of hard to side with Nicki for this one, honestly. I think they were trying to negotiate a deal, maybe Nicki was asking too much, and Ice said it herself. She said it was hard to negotiate with Nicki, especially since Nicki doesn't like dealing with lawyers and prefers it to be from the artists themselves. Obviously, we don't know the specifics, so we can't really judge, but honestly, I don't think Nicki was offering her a good deal. I understand that Nicki is a big draw and name, and being under her tutelage is probably worth a lot, but also Nicki knows what it's like to deal with record labels. I honestly, as a fan of Nicki, don't like her with Heavy on it, as it seems like it soured not only this relationship, but also Nicki and JT's relationship as speculated. I don't know, I haven't seen any positives to come out from Heavy on it, honestly. I'm obviously for the artist Nicki signed and Nicki herself. This is a business she really is passionate about, but I think that passion is kind of obscuring some of her more sound judgment, especially with her artist's relationships. That's just my opinion though. But then again, a Nicki feature is a very valuable thing, especially for a female rapper, and she proved that with her two collabs with Ice Spice, both of which are top 10 hits. Nicki knows that a feature she gives to female rappers is more valuable to them than it is to her, so she wants to be compensated fairly. And I understand that. Nicki has previously given out features for free, especially if Nicki likes that person and has a strong relationship with them or sees a lot of potential. You know, and it seems like Nicki isn't really mad at Ice for not signing with Heavy on it, but rather agreeing to sign with Heavy on it and just not signing. Let's remember, Nicki did announce that Ice would be part of Heavy on it. I don't think Nicki would announce that someone was signing if they didn't at least agree to be signing. This kinda confirmed when Khalil, one of Nicki's stylists, said that Nicki offers people who don't have that 1 million for that feature in video, you must sign to Heavy on it. If we put it that way, I don't think that's a bad deal. If you don't have that 1 million or you don't want to sign with Heavy on it, just don't get a Nicki feature. This isn't a charity case. Nicki 100% deserves to be compensated for the exposure she will give you with a feature. I should say, however, that they wanted to pay Nicki her artist fee, so it's kind of confusing. I'm still kind of leaning on Nicki's side here a little bit because it really does seem like Ice did agree on signing with Heavy on it. Otherwise, Nicki wouldn't have announced that Ice would be signing with her, nor do I think she would have went so hard to promote Ice Spice. Khalil also said that the fact that y'all are making this about her not signing and not about her agreeing to sign and taking 2 features and 2 videos, she simply could have said no. Why not? She still hasn't said no. Lamau just ran off. So it really just seems like Nicki felt used by Ice Spice. Ice Spice felt like she was getting a bad deal and that's why they fell out. It's also crazy to me that this conversation happened before Barbie World came out and there was allegedly tension during the music video shoot between Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice's team. It's really weird how Ice was talking about Nicki just months before another big hit between them, and that in public she's very kumbaya with Nicki, when that wasn't how she felt at all. I understand feeling frustrated and just going off to a friend, but still, that girl you're talking shit about probably gave you the biggest boost in your career. Yeah, you have a collab with Taylor Swift, but let's be serious. Taylor's fans probably aren't going to be listening to you. The Barbs, on the other hand, has shown that they have the capability to buy and support female rappers they like, and that was the people who had the most chance of having a transfer effect to your audience. So talking about Nicki like that, saying she's ungrateful when she's probably given Ice the biggest boost out of any female rapper she has collaborated with. She gave you 2 collabs, 2 top 10 hits. You said all of that about Nicki, knowing how the Barbs would react if ever that conversation fashion leaks. Calling her jealous of all things is madness. Nicki Minaj is not jealous of you, Ice. Let's be for real. Jealous of what? But also I just want to acknowledge how shitty of a friend Baby Storm is for saying all this shit or exposing this, especially since it's not her business to tell. That's what separates her from Cleo, who also exposed Ice Spice, but Cleo's is more focused on her and Ice's relationship, whilst Baby Storm's felt like she just added Nicki to the drama because she wanted to, and let's be real, she needed the clout. Nicki and Ice didn't really publicly react to this. Ice only addressed this in her Rolling Stone interview when she stated that her and Nicki are in a good place, saying we don't have the closest relationship, you know, but we're definitely good. We're mutuals. We had smash records together. I love us together. I think the world does too. I think the saddest part of the whole situation, it's somebody I knew for so many years and called my friend and had me open up and be so vulnerable with them, and then took complete advantage of that for her own benefit. So that was the saddest part, really. Just feeling used, basically. She also said about Nicki, she's busy as hell. I don't really think she cares about shit like that coming from a random girl. But what I said in those texts was just a moment of frustration around contract negotiation. I could have chosen different words, but at the end of the day, regardless of how I felt in that moment, Nicki is still somebody I respect as an artist, and I'm always going to admire everything she's done for me and the culture. So Ice basically confirms that those texts were real. I think Nicki also said some comments on Station Head too, but some of those are very open-ended and hard to pin on Ice only. Plus, even I as a fan can't keep up with all of her Station Heads, I'm sorry. Then on August 22, fans noticed that Nicki unfollowed both Ice Spice and JT, and honestly that seems like the end of their beef. Ice still comments on Nicki's post and still shows her love, but after those messages leaked, it's hard to see them as genuine, especially after hearing what Ice did to Cleo, which is a whole other bag of worms that I don't want to deal with right now, and I think that's how Nicki feels in some way too. And I understand Nicki's side here. From an outside perspective, it's easy to understand how Ice felt and why she said those things, and it's easy to empathize with her, especially since those messages were not meant to be public. However, it's harder to do that when you're the one being talked shit on. I think it's hard to maintain a working relationship after that. If we really look at it, Nicki hasn't really done anything to Ice other than to stop acknowledging her. Like compared to other female rappers, Nicki and Ice doesn't seem to have beef per se, just a misunderstanding. I honestly think this can be resolved if they just had a chat, but I don't think this will escalate to a Cardi X Nicki type of beef. They just fell out. For Ice, however, this falling out is very detrimental to her career. She lost a bunch of fans and support from the Barbs, arguably the biggest consumer of female rap content. If you look at her stats from 2023 to 2024, she fell off hard. She went from having the world's attention at her fingertips to barely clinging onto it anymore. I honestly think it was worth signing with Nicki's label no matter how bad the deal was, especially considering how her career is turning out, because she would have benefited greatly with Nicki's support on her side. Nicki didn't really have any effects from their falling out. She's still the best-selling female rapper this year and of all time. She's on a sold-out world tour. Come on, Nicki is solidified and Ice isn't. I was rooting for Ice Spice honestly, but now it's more likely that she'll end up like Iggy Azalea, a huge year, multiple top 10 hits, and then voila. And this is coming from someone who actually likes Iggy's music. So yeah, honestly, that's the end of it all. Nicki and Ice wasn't the female rap duo we hoped for, and we hope they would be. I think their relationship is still mendable, but only time can tell. And that, guys, is Nicki Minaj v Ice Spice. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. Do all the YouTuber stuff, subscribe to this channel, like this video if you really liked it, and yeah, I'm gonna be uploading more consistently, as you can see from my previous schedule. I just uploaded a video like 2 days ago, and now I'm uploading one now, and it's gonna be consistently, not daily, but almost daily, so keep a close eye on that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice. Do you think their relationship can still be mended? And what do you think will happen to Ice's career in the future? So yeah, sound off your opinions in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.